So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. In this episode, I'm going to tell you the truth about the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the Galaxy Z Fold 4, but it's just going to be iPhone in general, because even when the iPhone 14 Pro Max comes, I will compare it to the Z Fold 4, but I want to share with you kind of like what I think about the experiences between the new foldable style and the current polished Apple iPhone 13 Pro Max. These are my two favorite phones right now, at least till Wednesday when we see the 14 Pro Max, and they're just beautiful. They are stunning pieces of kit. You can just see how much thought has gone into building these. People have, definitely been loving these from what I've seen in the comments. First truth is the iPhone is just a more polished phone. iOS, to me, the software has just been refined over the years so much. The animations are super smooth. The animations are super similar on the iPhone 13 Pro Max to, any other iPhone, but it has the ProMotion. So that made it feel even more polished than ever before. And I've just been raving about this all year, about how smooth this phone feels on the day-to-day. So overall, I just got to say the phone just feels polished all around. The polished edges, the polished camera, the back is beautiful. It's all around. It's about a perfect feeling phone in terms of there's just not a lot to knock on it. Now, the Galaxy Z Fold 4 is an incredibly polished phone as well for being only in its fourth generation, but it hasn't had quite as many years as the iPhone has to get polished. So you can see there's still a crease in there, although it is getting much better. And it is an awesome phone to hold. And even the close mechanism, which is very satisfying, it's still not quite up to iPhone's polish just yet, but it's very, very close and pretty impressive considering this is only the fourth time Samsung has done the foldable phones. So the big deal here with the Galaxy Z Fold 4 is that you just cannot touch its multitasking. They're also bringing these One UI 4.1.1 features here to the other Samsung tablets as well, and maybe even some other Samsung phones. But the ability to just bring like the calculator over here, and then also to bring another application in from the Windows over here. We'll go over here and grab something else. Let's go ahead and grab, say, an alarm clock, for example. You can split three different apps at once. Not only that, you can bring in, let's go ahead and bring in the weather, for example. You can drop that right there. So there's so many different ways to multitask with this phone. It's pretty incredible. And not only can you multitask with this phone in multiple different ways, this phone also has this, like I talked about, this taskbar. So now hopping between apps it's not like the iPhone where you kind of got to go back to the home screen, find the app, go back, find the app again. It's just this back and forth stuff. Samsung has found a solution by bringing the taskbar here. So that's what really sells me on this phone, and I just love this multitasking. And if you're the type of person who's doing business stuff on your phone, you're doing your work for your school on your phone, your schoolwork, homework, whatever, you need two apps, you're doing some research, whatever, it's hard to touch that multitasking on the iPhone. It's just much more of a pain to use on the iOS side of things. So that's a really big selling point for me here. But the truth about the iPhone is that it's still the better iMessaging system here. You gotta love iMessage. It's still the better system for communications. Now, we need to see, Android and Apple, I think, team up on this stuff, but Apple's keeping this thing proprietary. And we still have more than likely the better emojis here. Most people would agree on the iPhone. So definitely the standard iPhone slab still gonna give you the better communications experience. And if you are trying to use something like FaceTime, this FaceTime is actually gonna be more, I think, easy for a lot of people to use, and downloading a different, Zoom app or something like that. It's just extra step sometimes on other platforms, whereas it's right there. Now, I know Z Fold does have Google Duo built right in, but a lot of times people just know the name FaceTime and they just use it more. That's what I've experienced. People just use it. And so I would say communication-wise, at least in the US, the iMessage system, the FaceTime system, much more synonymous with basically everybody communicating. So if you get an Android phone in the US, more than likely somebody's going to say, why are you using those green bubbles? What's up with that? There is something to it. Psychologically, I don't know. At the same time, I would pick the iPhone if I was just getting a phone mostly for communications though. The Fold is a premium feeling phone, but the iPhone is just a little bit more premium feeling than the Galaxy Z Fold. in my experience. The overall stainless steel edges just feel a little bit better. These kind of feel like polished aluminum edges on the Fold, and it's lighter, not as heavy feel. Definitely feels slightly less premium, but it's super close. What is very premium, though, I would say on the Fold specifically, is the hinge. The hinge feels ridiculously durable, and that reminds me more of what Apple does on the stainless steel. So I absolutely love the hinge, but I will tell you overall, I think the iPhone still has a little bit more premium feel, especially on the edges. But this is very tight, very close, and I don't think either way you go, you're going to be disappointed. They both are going neck and neck in this area. Also, I do have to mention that the iPhone does feel rather smooth when just kind of scrolling through because there is no crease. But that's not really a big deal. We kind of know what we're getting here with the Galaxy Z Fold. But right here you can see it's just very smooth. But on the Galaxy Z Fold, on the front screen, it's also incredibly smooth. So if the crease bothers you, I would recommend that you use the front screen a little bit more. There's still not a way just yet, it seems like, from the Samsung cams to fully eliminate that crease. So that's one thing that feels a little more polished on the iPhone, but look at the screen difference. They're not comparable. You just cannot do what you can do on a Fold on this iPhone 13 Pro Max and even on the 14 Pro Max. The 14 Pro Max is not going to fold. So you cannot do the same things on either, and it's not even here. We already know that. And the truth about the Fold is that it's just a better media viewing experience, especially on the inner display. I'm not going to show the iPhone compared here. It's not comparable. We basically have two phones side by side here forming one massive screen. Not only that, because of that, you have a wider and much more enjoyable reading experience. There's so much space on this phone actually that when you go ahead and you add an application, let me go ahead and add the internet, or the photo, the gallery we were just in. Let me add that there. There's so much space that you can even read an article over here with plenty of space while doing something on the right. So comparably, there is no comparison when it comes to this media experience. Watching the Nick Eckerman channel, for example. Now, Z Fold does present black bars, which is kind of annoying considering I would like to see, a little bit more all screen. At the same time, it's still a very good viewing experience. You can pinch in, does cut off a lot of content, but there is certain content that still looks good even when you pinch in. The under display camera is nearly invincible. You can barely even see it. So overall, I gotta say, this is the truth. The Z Fold is just so much better to use with media. Now you can close that display and it'll continue on the front. And I've noticed something else about the Z Fold 4. The front display is big enough to use, but during the day, I love that it's just a regular phone. And then at night when I want to relax, go into tablet mode, I can enjoy my media and content. It really does replace two devices, a tablet and a phone. This is the only phone on the market that can really do that, I think, really well. The Galaxy Z Fold 4. Another truth is that the Galaxy Z Fold 4 is simply a little more saturated than the iPhone. It's a little more colorful display. You won't see it on the video, but in reality, I'm telling you right now, the iPhone does look a little bit more better tuned, like a little more accurate for like photos and videos. But for pure saturation and color, Samsung still has a slight edge here. The phone just still looks a little bit more punchy, a little bit more colorful. So if you're into that, I noticed that truth about the Z Fold 4 over the iPhone 13 Pro Max. The truth is that the iPhone still has a superior camera. I absolutely love the results that I receive here from the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and zooming in is fantastic as well. Everything about it, this is the camera I want to use when I make videos. I'm actually recording this video right now on the iPhone 13 Pro. I just don't want to use Samsung phones for video. I just really enjoy Apple's way of doing video. It just looks better. The focus is amazing. The colors are on point. 4K 60 looks great. And they use some of the best Sony sensors on the market. That's not to say these aren't great cameras though. They're still pretty great and they're super usable. It's not like you can't get a lot done. I could still make videos on this phone. I could still do what I gotta do. I just don't like the results as much on these phones, especially on the front. This inner display front facing camera just looks kind of noisy. It still works. It's still better than some cheaper iPad cameras like from years ago. But overall, it's not my favorite video or phone camera. But still, I'd say it's still at a high-end level, and I still say that it's definitely not a reason to not consider it. At least you have a triple camera setup here, and then you have a camera here on the front as well, which is much better than that inner display front-facing camera, mind you. So you got to go to the front to get the better front-facing camera. This also looks very good. So you have a few more options than you might have on iPhones, but the actual results, I'm still going with the iPhone. That's my truth. Another truth I discovered is that just simply the animations are slightly more accurate on the iPhone, as in they respond and they're consistent, just a little bit smoother day to day with the animation. It just feels a little bit more buttery smooth. The thing is that Samsung made a good decision by optimizing the Z Fold to be ready to go out of the box. So these days, I'm very happy with how it performs. The animations are basically similar looking to the iPhone as well, and they've been very consistent. With the Z Fold 4 having 12 gigabytes of RAM, Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, it doesn't get warm, and the animations are pretty good as well. So definitely, my truth is that the Z Fold 4 is close. It's the closest phone I've seen on the market to the iPhone, but the iPhone's still a hair better. I think we're only about a year, maybe one software or two software updates away from Samsung maybe getting these animations at the same exact level. The truth is, the Z Fold 4 just feels more fun to use. I love closing it. It's satisfying. I just love using the front because it's like easy to use with one thumb. It's easy to use this thing. It's not wide and bulky, you know, when you're using that front. Yes, it's a thick phone, don't get me wrong, but it's not a wide phone. Like, it's not feeling like that in your pocket. It just feels like a little thick phone in your pocket, but definitely super portable. And then at nighttime, it just turns into this thin, nice tablet. So it's just so fun to use with all those features. The iPhone is like your reliable appliance. It just always works all the time. It's fantastic. It's perfection when it comes to, you know, just reliability of the smartphone. Also, the speed differences, they're barely noticeable. Honestly, the average person will never notice the speed differences between the Galaxy Fold 4 and the iPhone 13 Pro Max, maybe even the upcoming iPhone 14 Pro Max. We'll have to see, but there was never a speed issue whatsoever with the 13 Pro Max, and I don't see the iPhone 14 Pro Max performing like 10 times better than the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I just don't see it happening. So phones at this point are so mature and they're so fast that, you know, you're not going to have a major issue with speed. The average person won't even be able to tell. The truth is the iPhone is the better battery experience. Hands down, bar none. It's the best phone I've used all year when it comes to battery. This is incredibly important to people. And it's the first iPhone I've ever used where I didn't feel like, well, maybe not the first, but one of the only that I feel like I don't need a battery pack. The 11 Pro Max was one of those as well. This one's fantastic. You know, it adapts between that ridiculous refresh rate where it goes from like 10 hertz to 120 hertz. And it keeps that battery draining super slow. So this is one of the best, if not the best, battery life smartphone on the market. What's impressive in truth about the Z Fold 4 though is that you actually can get through a day even though you're powering this full tablet on the inside and that front screen. And I'm talking about using it. Like, I use it heavy and I'm still getting through a day. Never worried once about this phone dying. The only time it got really low is I think I left the screen on 10 minutes before it would turn off, you know, the auto lock mode, and it was on my pocket for a while. Plus I was listening to some music at night and fell asleep, and it was at like 12%, but it still never kicked the battery on me. So even though it's a little bit worse than the iPhone, it's still pretty solid. It's definitely a full day. So the truth is the iPhone is still the better GPS phone. So, you know, when you're putting this in a car or you're just holding it, it just feels more natural to navigate with this phone. I just like it a lot. It's a great, you know, Uber phone, Lyft phone, whatever you want to call it, you know, going to your local store, finding a restaurant on GPS, sticking it on the car window, whatever you got to do with your phone. This thing, even on a bike or even on a scooter, you know, you put on one of those little stands. This thing is solid, man. Now, Z Fold is fine on the front. You're going to be able to get the job done, no problem. I mean, this phone is still bigger than something like a 5S was back in the day, but it's a little bit thick and it doesn't fit very well in those phone holders in a car and stuff like that. Even on GPS holders for your bike or your, you know, scooter, whatever you ride, you know, or whatever you drive. And I will say it does make a very beautiful GPS in the car, but you're going to need a tablet stand. Once you get it, it is very nice in the car. So it is a great GPS for that, but you need a specific stand. On the whole, I still think that standard wide slab style smartphone is the best for an in-car GPS system. One of my last truths about this phone is that it's definitely easier to unlock. With that fingerprint sensor, I don't need to look at it. Watch this. Not looking, it's unlocked. Let's lock it up and show you that I wasn't messing. Listen for it. Heard that? It's unlocked. Don't even need to look. But the iPhone, if you are wearing a mask, you can still unlock it. Sometimes it misses if you're wearing a certain type of thing on your face, whether you're wearing a different hat or glasses or certain type of sunglasses and you weren't wearing them when you set up Face ID, you might have run into a couple of issues. So I would really prefer if Apple would put a fingerprint Touch ID on the home button. That would be pretty amazing. It comes down to this. If you are a multitasker, this phone is the one for you. This is a dream device for those of you who don't want a tablet and a smartphone in the Z Fold 4. And it's getting even better and better. I am just so excited where Samsung's taking this. I cannot wait to see where they go with this, phone in the future. If it gets even better than this is going to be ridiculous. So definitely much better than the Folds I've experienced before. I think it's also better for business people. It comes with S Pen support, which I've been using as well. You can, get precise on those sheets, on those documents, on those Excel spreadsheets, stuff like that. So very good for people like that. And of course, we talked a lot about multitasking. The iPhone is the go-to. It's the reliable, more updated, longer support phone. It got better resale value in the long term than the Galaxy Z Fold 4, although this is going to be one of the higher resale value Android phones. It's going to be your iPhone 13 Pro Max, 14 Pro Max is coming as well. So the iPhone's still the king of phones, but this is definitely a very fun, different choice that's playing on the same premium level as Apple. And that's it. That's my truth between these two. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed it, thumbs up, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.